What's going on, everybody?
Hey, everyone.
Welcome in. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. It's been a while since we've done an indie comics talk, but we got a special one for you tonight. We have with us the co-founder of Behemoth Comics, Nathan Yocum, Lord Behemoth himself.
What's up, man? That was a pretty sweet intro. I really dig that.
Thanks.
It's fun.
I'll take
Is he
it.
dancing?
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, we got a lot of people in the chat tonight. So I'll just shout out a couple people we got hanging out with us. Wesley's Comic Collection, first one in tonight. Johnny Rosado of Dream of Aegis Comics, who is actually interviewing an author from Behemoth Comics, author of Freak Snow. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Kevin Rodatelli.
Artist of Freak Snow.
Artist, not author, yeah.
Yeah, Rob
There we
King.
go. I'm testing you.
Yeah. You got it.
Panel surfing, Chamorro Cinema,
Tailgating like a
comic. Comics Talk Weekly, who I know is also a pretty big Behemoth fan. He talks about, he actually does on Sundays every month he'll do a review of the previews catalog, and so he'll talk about some of your books on that.
Sweet.
Rudy, welcome in. Firehawk 2069, welcome
Hey, Firehawk.
in. Hyper Combo Comics, yeah, wow. Comic Dude, Lewis Shadow Rabbit Clay Guy. He makes really cool clay statues. Got to get him to make some characters from Behemoth at some point.
For sure.
Hip Hop's in Me, Lady Sith Lordly. I think that's about everybody.
You got a whole crew in here.
We do. We got lots of people.
No Good just popped in too.
Oh yeah, I'm still scrolling over here.
You're still going through.
Caroline, you're in the chat too. Mac B, what's going on? And Jay Ramirez, the other half of Dream of Aegis Comics, and Damian Connolly. Hello from Argentina.
Hello.
There we go.
What's Damien doing here? What's up, Damien? That's the You Promised Me Darkness writer.
I was just gonna say, I was like, I know that name.
Very excited for that to come out.
Me too. So, one other, Sean Miller just popped in, and you said no good.
And copy.
There we go.
All
right, we're all caught up.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Appreciate you, Johnny. Good
we'll get into, we got some questions, and we want to talk about what's coming up with books for Behemoth, and then kind of future, what you guys are looking to do.
Yeah, good stuff. Lots of good stuff coming.
So I guess we'll start with, for you, what got you into comics, and when did you start reading comics?
Dude, I never started reading comics until like 5 years ago. It was actually kind of humorous. It was like, I think I just finished college at that point, and I had a friend who he was like, "You want to go to a comic book store or something like that?" And I was like, "Man, I didn't even know comic book stores were around." He was like, he was like, "You like zombie comics," and he's like, "There's The Walking Dead," and I was like, "Oh man, that's cool. They made a comic off a TV show," and he was like, "Oh boy, but that's not good." So yeah, I started reading The Walking Dead, and I was kind of like ass backwards on that one. Watched the show first, but loved the comics, and that was kind of like the first thing that if you love the show and then you get into the comics and you start liking the comics more, it was like, okay, maybe this is a pretty sweet medium that I haven't been paying attention to. And from there, it was just like around a bunch of friends and new group of friends, and all of them were into comics, and that kind of changed everything. And so it was like 3 years ago. Yeah, probably 3 years ago, I started working in comics. We helped out with a few Kickstarter projects, and it was just something about a year ago. Me and Ryan just talked about exploring, and here we are, 1 year later.
Nice, that's awesome. And so you said we know about a year ago, right, that you guys started Behemoth Comics. Was that a couple years in planning, or was that just kind of
it was
around that time?
Well, because we didn't know anything we were doing, so whenever it came to distribution, printing, it was just all a thing that we were doing for the fun of it. And then there was a guy named Dave DeLonge who founded Action Lab, and he came to us with the book, and he just kind of gave us some well, here's how distribution works, and it just triggered 40 questions of well, here's how this works, here's how contracts work and everything. And so we started talking about that, and then it was a year in the making from there. He got us a few books like the Osiris Path with some guys from Action Lab, and and there was like a few other books we picked up there, and then we just kind of pitched to Diamond off of the back of a guy from Starburns, which Starburns, they're the animators for Rick and Morty. And there was a guy there. Yeah, there was a guy there that used to work at Diamond, and he pitched us to Diamond. His name is Trevor Richardson, and he pitched us to Diamond, and just like that, like you're in Diamond, and you're like, all right, well, we got to do this now. We're in here, so yeah, it was crazy, kind of out of nowhere.
So, what was like the kind of the impetus? Like, what made you guys want to get into it? And was it like, pipe dream that became reality, or
you kind of thrown into it? More than anything, I think. It's one of those things that I think the more we started doing it, I guess there was a little bit of always expecting to eventually kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore kind of thing, because it wasn't something that was like a first love or anything like that. So over time it became, the more and more we started pushing into it, we were like still in love with it and still enjoying it. And it became less and less of a side thing and more of something to focus into. But yeah.
Nice. So given the timing of the launch of Behemoth, what difficulties did you guys have with the pandemic and delays? Because I know first book was supposed to come out in April.
Right.
Diamond wasn't distributing around that time.
Yeah, it was good times. No, it was horrible times. So it was like we didn't even get the sales figures. So like there was so much unknown. And like when Diamond came back, it was like we were the last thing on their list because we hadn't even done anything with them. So they had to go Marvel. Well, at that point, no DC, obviously. And then they had to go Image. So they were figuring out the DC thing as well. And they had to go Image, everybody. So they go down the list. And we're literally the last on our list. And we get the sales figures and, obviously weren't where we expected. I think our first issue sold like 1,200 copies, which was something, you could have at that point stopped right then, and said like, yeah, this isn't going to be something. And, especially like when you're talking about COVID happening, stores are shut down, stores stay shut down. A lot of stores stayed shut down for 6 to 9 months, even later. And something, I don't know. I'm glad we're still around though. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that even though the that delay happened, you guys still had pretty successful launch and going in.
And it definitely doesn't seem like it's, I don't want to say like hurt y'all too badly with, what you've got planned coming out and everything like that.
Yeah, it's weird. I think I talked to Ross Ritchie, who's the founder of Boom, and that was the one thing that he mentioned whenever he talked about COVID and actually being, obviously a horrible thing, but for some people it's a good point to attack. And, you got a lot of publishers that are trying to figure out what they're going to do next and either how they're going to survive and stuff. And like us, we'd already had the plan. We had the money aside. We had everything kind of there. So I was like, well, why not just push? And so, I think, we're fortunate. And then, like we said, we were talking before show with like You Promised Me Darkness selling 30,000 copies. You're talking 9 months later after selling 1,000 copies.
Yeah.
We sold 30, so it's crazy.
It's massive.
Yeah. It's amazing what's kind of happened over the last year. And I mean, if you look at the comics and how they're selling now,
they've definitely boomed. I mean, I'm one of the new readers. I started reading comics because I needed something to do during the pandemic where I couldn't go anywhere, do anything, or see anyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'll get into this. And it's been the best thing I've done in a very long time.
Yeah, appreciate it, Johnny. That is a good series. Yeah. That's one of the series that actually struggled more than we anticipated it to. It's such a weird thing. We one of the things that we do, me and Ryan both, is we try to guess sales, and it's kind of like a fun little game of. Well, not. I was gonna say I don't know if it's a fun game because sometimes it can be a depressing game. When you guess sales and they're like way off. But so it was fun with Paranormal Hitman. That's a rad one. That one sold pretty well. Heyo.
That was great.
Oh shit! Both of those, yeah. I think we got some here too. So. But there may be a movie deal on that one coming. So that's
really.
Yeah, we got like a 4-way back and forth on that one that we're pretty excited about. So.
That's awesome! Holy cow!
That would honestly, that just having read that looks like a really cool movie.
Yeah, it's like a simple, like almost like made for movie kind of thing, because it's got that Ghostbusters feel and kind of mafia thing, and so.
We're getting lots of compliments in from the chat.
Found footage rat, dude. We got found footage volume 2's coming out, and that thing is crazy.
I have found footage in my cart right now.
Yeah, you're gonna love that one.
I love this VHS whole thing, and you pull it out, and it looks like you're watching a VHS.
Yeah. And volume 2 is it basically like where that one's basically like almost like a home invasion kind of thing. The second one goes to where it's a dating show, like a dating show on TV. It's completely different, and it's crazy.
That's so cool.
Oh, it's crazy. Everybody's gonna love volume 2, and of course, hopefully, a volume 3. So we'll see.
Awesome. When should we be expecting volume 2?
The end of this year. So I think volume 1 was October. So hopefully the idea would be October again. I know we're coming up on it close, but I think he actually just wrapped production on it. So
awesome. I thought I did see him post something about volume 2.
Yeah, he's in Brazil, so he typically releases there first, and then we get a second. So
yeah, that's Savants of Sound, the same author of Necromorphous. I'm just waiting for that to come out.
Yeah, we have that one obviously from us. That's going to be coming out, and then we have he's going to be doing hopefully a second arc of Necromorphous as well. So that's going to be rad. So fingers crossed.
That's like one of my top, if not my favorite comic that came out. Yeah. So I am obsessed with it. I'm all in.
And I have to say, she is the reason that I have read Behemoth books. So she was always talking about Necromorphous. I was like, let me check this out, and I loved it. Got into that, and then started kind of down the rabbit hole of what else have you guys put out? And yeah, I've just loved everything that I've gotten to read that you guys have been putting out.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think it helps I don't want to say not being into comics, because I'm very much into comics now, but originally not being into comics, I think it helped kind of like come into it with a fresh aspect of, having like a really trim thing of what I would read. And so I think it's just a reflection of what I would read. Same thing with Ryan. It's a reflection of what he would read too. So we're only putting out the stuff that we really like. So I'm glad people are liking it though, because that's a nerve-wracking thing when it's only like a narrow stuff of what we like.
So when you guys are, considering a book, is that the main priority? Like, do I personally enjoy this, or do you like look at a lot of like who's the author and the artist, and like
we joked about it, but we have like, I don't know if it's like a policy kind of thing, but like our thing is to like avoid people from Boom, Dark Horse, Marvel, DC. We have it's like the way we work, and the only way we succeed is if we're boosting up people that don't have a brand, don't have a name. So more than anything, you don't really look at that. It's just, is it something that I would read? Because, when you're in, of course, they have, of course, invested a lot of the time and money into it on their end. But on our end, when you're investing 10, 20, sometimes $30,000, $40,000 into it, you have to really like what you're putting out. It's a lot of money. So you're like, I gotta like this thing. If I'm gonna, especially if you're gonna look at it for the next year, some of them 2 years, you got a second arc coming, a third arc. You gotta make sure you like it. So most of the time,
and I can imagine it's hard to like hype it up and talk about it and want people to read it if you yourself don't want to read it.
Yeah.
Right, totally.
We have a question from the chat here. Thoughts on variant covers from a publisher's point of view?
We stayed away from them for a while. When we first started out, one of the things I did is went and talked to retailers, like what their opinion of variant covers were. A lot of them all had the same thing. Like they hated, like insert company name here, because they hated them because they would do 20 or 30 of them. And so like our thing was to stay away from variant covers. We only started noticing after doing like, I think it was Hotline Miami Necromorphous, where we did one variant cover that literally pretty much doubled sales. And yeah, that variant cover... Like
I want that variant cover.
Yeah, it's like it pretty much doubled sales. So admittedly, it's like, especially when you're a small company like us, you'll take anything you can get. So variant covers are something that it's a necessity. I think what's not a necessity is when companies do like 1 in 100s, 1 in 1,000, which kind of like force the store to buy. So that's a thing that we try to avoid, is not do any 1 in whatevers. We've done some 1 in 5s, but because it's like...
Yeah, I feel like more than 3 or 4 covers really gets to be, especially if you're someone who goes and buys them all, it's exhausting.
Yeah, that was a thing that we tested with You Promised Me Darkness, and that wasn't a thing of more, it was just that Damien's a workhorse, and when he sent us like 30 covers, and we were like, well, let's put them all out. Why not? So...
They all look amazing.
Yeah, they're all amazing, though. That's the one that I sat there really hard, and I was like, which ones? Which ones do I get?
And we'll show you guys what those covers look like as we go through the upcoming books a little bit later on. But let's see, we got a couple more questions here. What's the process of deciding which independent books that you want to put your names on and publish? So it's kind of similar, I think, to what we were talking about already.
Do you take submissions, or do you like go out and look for Kickstarters and stuff, or both?
We do avoid Kickstarters if possible. A lot of times it's foreign things if we can that just haven't been over here that we can translate and put the effort into, because those creators don't always have the easiest opportunity to get into Marvel or DC. But with US based stuff, most of it's like I just have to like it. And a lot of times it'll come down to like, you can just pitch a synopsis if synopsis is good enough, and if the art's cool, we'll go for it.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. So anybody out there and watching that is interested in submitting a comic book,
you want to make a comic,
there you go.
Reach out.
We do have licensed stuff as well. So we have some titles with Netflix and whomever. So
I think that kind of fits into things that are licensed. We got Hotline Miami.
Nice.
So there we go. I got a question about the name Behemoth, and where did that come from?
Yeah, me and Ryan, we originally had the name Revolver. There was a magazine named Revolver, which was like a metal magazine. And so we figured like it was a matter of days before we were going to get like a cease and desist in the mail. So we had like a last minute ditch. Like whenever we pitched to Diamond, we were like, well, we have to have a name within like 48 hours. And so him and me, we just like looked up names really quick. And that's like the first one that popped up. And we were like, we're done. It's like 3 a.m. We're like, that's the name. That's what it is.
It's a good name.
And
it is a very good name.
It worked.
Yeah. So here's a curveball, and based on the shirt I'm wearing, I have an idea of how you'll answer this, but cats or dogs?
Dogs. It's actually dogs.
So not the cat.
Yeah, my Chihuahua is like 5 feet from me right now. So, yeah, I was gonna say your cat back there, but no, my Chihuahua is like 5 feet
She's
from me.
She's my
right
regular guest and co-host.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I also have a cat. It's out of the room right now because it's still
because he's a mess.
wreaking havoc sometimes. So
yeah.
Good old Doyle.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, grew up with cats and dogs, so love them both. Do you have any favorite artists or writers that you want to work with that you guys haven't gotten the chance to work with?
Not really, because we try to keep that whole idea of working with somebody that doesn't have a name, and necessarily a name in America, because some like people like Damien and other people, they have a name where they're at, but like in America. So we try to. We've been fortunate to get a few things from people that were just like that book is like 5 feet from us, like we have their big title from name company, and so yeah, it's a little tough sometimes to turn those people down and to keep the kind of mantra that we have. But like if you kind of lose sight of what you're doing and start changing it up, I think who would we be then, so.
Yeah. No, it's nice. I like that you're really kind of holding yourselves to that.
Yeah.
Keeping that same level of consistency across what you guys are doing, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a dope magazine.
I got a question. How far ahead of New Comic Book Day do you print, and do you ship to Diamond, or does your printer?
We ship. So Diamond usually gives you a PO. Well, it depends. So like if you're not on FOC, so if you're on FOC, I think it's only like they give you like a PO like 3 weeks before print. It's crazy, or before on shelf date. So it's nuts. But like if you're not on FOC, I think we get it like at the very beginning of the month. So like say if we had titles coming out in April, we'd get it the first week of March. And so that gives us basically a month to print anything that comes out at the beginning of April, which it takes 2 weeks to print. And if you're using like a foreign printer, it takes 2 weeks to ship, and Diamond has to have them ahead of time. It can be a mess. So yeah, usually you even want to try to guess orders if you can. And it's a tough process. Like it can be a mess, but yeah, usually about a month ahead of time. And then does your printer ship to? Yeah, no, printer ships to Diamond. Graphic novels, we directly ship those because we ocean freight those ahead of time.
Okay.
What do you prefer doing as like your sales, a graphic novel or like the single floppies?
That changes like by the day. I think before You Promised Me Darkness, we were starting to lean a lot more into graphic novels, because once we got with Simon & Schuster and we got like a dedicated sales team there, that was really cool. That was like a new front to us, because with Diamond, it's like you have to push everything on your end. And with Simon & Schuster, it's like you really feel like the company believes in you. They give you a sales team and they're like, well, what is your sales target on this? And then they try to hit it for you. So it's a completely different thing with them. And so it's a great company to be with, obviously. And so we were heavily leaning into graphic novels for a bit there. And then Damien had to go and ruin that. And once that thing sold like 30,000 copies.
Thank you, Damien, because those covers are great.
We're back. Yeah. So singles are great, though. We love them.
Yeah. No, and I think there's something to love about certain stories in like a collected, like,
right.
I mean, I did. So these are some of the ones I picked up from the website.
Did you have everything of ours?
So I think both of these worked really well as collected in a paperback,
right?
Versus like Paranormal Hitman ends like on a great note with that first issue,
right?
So that you're ready for the next one. You're like, all right, I want to get that order in for the next one. So I think, yeah,
that's
a little hype for itself,
right?
And then like if we were only doing singles, we wouldn't be able to do like found footage. So it's It's a weird mix of, like you said, it just depends on, I guess, what the format is, but we love singles.
Awesome.
Okay.
You want to do the next one?
Oh yeah. So what's your favorite book that you guys have produced, put out? Or like top three?
Or not playing favorites.
If Damien's still in the comments section, then it's You Promised Me.
What? That one's not out yet.
Yeah. Not out yet.
Sorry, Damien. No, I think Hotline Miami Wildlife was the one that kind of gave us life. That was a thing that boosted our sales really heavy. So I think that was a big one for us.
Nice.
And it really shined the light to other titles of ours, because once sales go up like that, you boost your other sales. So yeah, I think Hotline Miami Wildlife was a big one for us. And that was our first licensed title, at least as Behemoth. We did a few before then, but yeah, I think Hotline is something that was really big for us. And we dig, but like obviously Necromorphos, Found Footage, all those titles are something that we adore.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say that. So the first book that you guys put out was Blackout. Is that right?
Yeah, it's gonna be probably Blackout. We had first stuff was Dave Dwanch's Prom of the Dead, Blackout, the Osiris Path was the first singles that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
My information is Wikipedia, so
it's tough.
I think they were missing one of those ones that you said, but yeah, Blackout, Osiris Path. I think Comics Talk Weekly had mentioned he's read Osiris Path and really enjoyed it, so that's one I'm gonna try to get in the future.
Yeah, that's cool.
What is the relation to Freak Snow, Wash in Blood in the forthcoming series?
It's separate spin-off stories, but it ties in really well. So it can be read on its own, and it has a conclusion at the end, obviously. But the forthcoming series has a lot of the characters are going to return as well, but it's also kind of like its own thing, because the forthcoming series is an ongoing series. So we at least have 4 issues done, but there's still plans to potentially do more.
Awesome.
Kevin's really passionate about that series. Really passionate.
Yeah, no, we got a
it's Shiner.
Nice.
Not Angry Orchard, which is fine. Whatever you like.
Yeah, no, that's when I read that one, it was pretty trippy. The art's really cool in the way that it's designed.
It's very different for us. It was not in a weird sense, like it's like, again, we have a very like certain style that we do. It's not necessarily something that we normally do, but that was like the start of Kevin and his like little imprint that he's got going on for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, his imprint's got a lot more of that kind of stuff, trippy kind of crazy stuff.
So that title
is that something you
go ahead.
Is that something you guys expect to do more of, like more imprints with people that you find that you really like to work with creatively?
Yeah, so we bought the company Amigo Comics, and they're coming back next month. They've been around since like 2013. They never really broke through because they were based in Spain, And so that was kind of like his issue of not being able to like coordinate stuff through Diamond very well and go to conventions, obviously. So so we bought them, and they're coming back next month. So you got Kevin's label, that label. You also have another label, another European label that we're waiting on a contract signature on, and we got another label that we're hoping pretty soon. It's a really big label, so we're kind of hoping that this one works out.
Nice.
But that would be another imprint label. But yeah, so yeah, totally, we're doubling down on that.
That's very cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So the Freak Snow is the first one coming out under the Happy Tank imprint.
Yeah, Freak Snow, and then he's got there's an animated movie on Netflix called MFKZ. And he's got an adaptation of that, and then he's also got another short series called Cinnamon, which is like it's about a female cat, a crazy female cat. So it's really
I'm
cool.
looking forward to that one.
We both, being cat owners, saw that and was like, okay.
I'm in.
Yeah, Kevin's got like free reign to pick up whatever he wants, and the stuff that he keeps showing us is like, it's crazy. I'm just like, all right, whatever. Yeah. It's cool.
And when I heard that announcement, I was like, well, I'm gonna go to Netflix and watch this thing.
Yeah, I gotta go watch.
MFKZ is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's unique. It's definitely crazy.
Are there any specific properties that you guys are actually trying to acquire?
Yeah, we do a lot of that. So there's always the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. There's stuff that we signed a licensing deal for back in 2019 that still hasn't even been announced. It's kind of crazy. COVID's partially to blame for that. Like some of the movies get like derailed because like Netflix is like waiting to greenlight the sequel, and then you're like, well, you can't do the comic until the sequel comes out or whatever. So you're like, okay, well, we're gonna sit on this then. So there's a lot of that. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I think the license stuff we've released 2. We have between us and Kevin, I think like 16 or 17 that are required signatures on contracts.
That's awesome.
So big things coming for Behemoth.
Dude, and some of them are really big properties that we're excited about that we've been sitting on for a while. So it's going to be crazy once they're announced, and we're excited.
Nice. I can't wait to see when you guys announce them. That's going to be awesome.
Is that hoping to be this year that this stuff would come out, or would that be like next year?
Kevin's got, besides MFKZ, he's got 2 more that are coming this year. We're going to have 3 coming this year as well from us. Nice. So most things are just, coming. Nothing besides MFKZ is long form like Hotline was, where it was 8 issues. Most of them are a little shorter and 4 issues or straight to graphic novel.
Okay.
But yeah, some of the ones next year will be longer form.
Sweet.
Nice.
That's really exciting to hear. You've got all this really already lined up. It's coming.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's tough to not be able to like shout it out from like, because you want to be like, we're doing this.
You want to let everyone know, but you also
stuff.
Well, if you ever want to come back, it's announced and talk about all that stuff.
I absolutely plan on it. I will absolutely reach out to you and do it for sure.
Sweet. One other question on here, and then anyone in the chat, if you've got some questions, keep dropping them. Those have been great questions you guys are asking. So like found footage, it's this interesting format. Do you guys kind of really look for those ideas that break the usual mold of comics, or is it kind of like we talked about earlier, just whatever you guys see and like?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, if there's something out there that's a unique format, I think that really piques our interest, because of not kind of growing up with the floppy format, like a lot of people have. It's like you can get into comics via many different routes. So like found footage was one of the things that we first picked up because we were just like infatuated with it. It's actually really cool. His version that he did in Brazil had like a blood sample in it, and it had like a blood sample. Yeah, that thing was crazy. And it actually came in like. It came in one of the old like Blockbuster like clamshell cases.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool!
Yeah,
I did like the like ransom note.
Yeah, I put that together in like 30 minutes, by the way.
And the like little like I think it's a sticker, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely have to get that now.
So I go to that website and it takes you straight to Behemoth Comics, right?
Yeah, and it takes you to where you can download found footage too. It's a preview, so spoiler alert, I guess. But
interesting.
Yeah, it's a 60-page preview of it. So
Nice.
I must have missed that. I was not paying attention when I did it.
Maybe the link isn't active anymore, and I need to look up on that because that could be a problem.
I believe it took me to the main page, but I'll let you know. I'll double check later.
That sounds.
So
great.
is the second volume that he's making going to be in the same similar format?
Mm-hmm. Yep, same
Nice.
format.
Okay.
Same format, but
Very cool.
a little, like it's really unique. Like I was talking about. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, please make that happen. I also want that to happen. I want all of it to happen.
Yeah, we're both very much ready for that when you
Yeah.
guys get to publish it here.
Yeah, we're excited.
And
As soon as I heard Necromorphous got optioned, I was just losing my mind. I was like, yes!
Yeah, I'm hoping
So
Gabriel
excited.
and them get to announce the Necromorphous deal that they made pretty soon. But we weren't really part of that deal. But it's a really cool deal that those guys got. So, but the Savage Sounds, yeah, that's we're gonna make a good deal.
Yeah, that looks so good. I've already messaged him about it. I've told him, I'm like, I cannot wait for that to be out in the States.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I'm gonna
rad.
buy it so hard.
I know I keep seeing him post about it, and I'm like, I wish I understood and could just get it, get a digital copy, and figure out how to translate it. But
I've seen it.
yeah,
It's good. You'll like it.
Yeah,
I
I
love
flipped
it.
through all of like the teaser posts and everything, and I'm just like, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
it really does.
And the whole concept entirely is just great.
We got a question about your personal collection of comics. Do you have a favorite that you own?
Oh, it's so tough. I have so many now. Like it's unhealthy. Like these past few years, how many I've bought. I'm trying to think if there's one specific
Similar
one.
question. Top 3 or top 5?
I don't know.
Does that make
I
it
want to
harder?
go. Yeah, I want to go all of our books. I feel guilty doing that, but
There
that's
we
the
go.
easiest. That's the easiest answer. I feel like kind of lame for answering that, but no, there's a lot. I really enjoy some of the hardbacks Image does, like the Paper Girls collection. Paper Girls was a really cool series. Saga, obviously, and some other ones I got. There's a ton
I've been
of
working
stuff.
my way through Saga.
I think
Yeah.
to shout out a few weird ones that a lot of people didn't read. 4 Kids Walk into a Bank from Black Mask is really good. I just got optioned for a movie too.
I've heard a little bit about that. Yeah,
It's a
couple
really
of
good
people
series.
I follow are into it.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a few others that they've done, like Cal Exit and stuff, that were really good political ones. There you go. Do you have everything just like on you, like
Listen,
ready?
Sparks
I actually- I
Timeline
still
needs
have
to
that
be
box
always
of-
showing books.
I have I have probably more, like the publishers I probably have more of that are indie are Boom and Image, because they put out a lot more books.
Right.
And then I have kind of over here off screen, I have some stuff of like all the other publishers. So you guys,
Cool.
Black Mask, Aftershock,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Aftershocks
it's in an alphabetical order. So it was just like, oh, here.
Sure. Whatever.
And I just pulled the Behemoth books out and it was right there.
Yeah. That's awesome. Showing books.
Always
Yeah.
showing books.
Got them ready.
Yeah. No,
I grabbed mine. I was like, I should have them handy. Never a bad idea.
that
Right.
definitely looks like that would be interesting. Like you said, it's optioned, so it'd be interesting to see what they do with it.
Yeah, it's very unique.
So let's talk about what's coming up with Behemoth Comics. Let me actually share that. That would help. Add to stream. There we go. So this stuff you can also find on the Behemoth Comics website, behemothcomics.us.
I have a specific book I want to ask you about at the end of this too.
Okay.
We got a question real quick though. Will you have a presence at cons whenever they begin again?
Yeah, we got screwed hard on that. The problem is like everybody. So like our first year was obviously COVID. So like everybody that had already got in before us has like their free pass because of all those getting delayed. So like even when we're trying to like apply to the next San Diego Comic-Con, they're like, well, we had to give everybody from the previous years that got canceled. And so like we can't even get into most cons that we're trying now. But there's a few that we're getting into. But those keep getting delayed as well, which is it's tough. But yeah, we'll have a heavy presence at cons, especially obviously like New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, and a lot of the Fan Expo ones and stuff. So totally.
Yeah, I haven't gone to a con yet, so I'm very excited for them to come back.
Yeah.
Are there any that you can say that you guys are planning at being at if they happen?
Pretty much all those. There's a few more. especially ones in Texas that we know, obviously like Frightener and stuff like that. But no. There's San Diego, New York, and a lot of other ones that we're gonna have individual creators at as well. So
Are you gonna do like Philly and Baltimore?
Hopefully.
Because I'm in Virginia, so I'm like, anywhere close to me, please.
Anything in Louisiana.
I was going to say Louisiana. I was going to say even probably some in New Orleans or something, but Baltimore definitely because Diamond's there. So that's
dope. Okay.
So it makes it easy to drop in and throw hands with them.
Question about Terrificon.
Oh, I actually don't even.
I think that's in Connecticut.
Nice.
End of July, beginning of August.
Yeah, biggest one in Connecticut. Totally.
I know a lot of people in the kind of the comics YouTube community are like, we need to go to this one because it's kind of the first one that seems to be happening. Yeah. And it's more of a comics focused con than like for them, they're saying, like New York and San Diego are more like the entertainment side of comics.
Right. Yeah.
So Chicago's the big one, right?
It's a mix between all three. Yeah, okay. C2E2, and yeah, there's so many big ones these days.
I mean, probably whatever con happens first, I'll try to I'll try to go to it because it's been something like Caroline said, we haven't had it for so long, and now we've kind of gotten to know people over the internet and talk about comics.
To meet everyone.
So it'd be cool to meet everyone that it's kind of part of the community now.
Yeah, it's a little weird for us not being able to do cons at all, So
show up. This was great. I don't watch scary movies, but I have become a very big fan of like the horror genre of comics.
Nice, That's awesome.
And this is great. I love it.
I'm glad you like that one. It's a classic. We got more issues of that coming, so hopefully soon.
Nice.
There we go.
Good stuff.
Dropping some scoops.
My shop got the trades and then sold out like that, so I'm just waiting for them to get more.
Oh, fingers crossed because we don't have many.
Yeah,
there's the Simon and Schuster ones coming soon though. That'll be on Amazon, so it'll be much easier to grab it.
Cool.
I'm looking at cons in.
I recommend
Minnesota. What do we got in Minnesota?
It's got the good spooky vibes. So I love that you guys did that and it was printed on black paper. I think that was like my favorite thing about that whole series was just, it was so cool.
Yeah, we did something similar with You Promised Me Darkness. It's not black paper on that one because there's a lot more whites in that one, but it's the same paper quality. So,
nice.
So yeah, that one's gonna be really cool.
It was just such like a unique thing that I was going through and I was like, I love this. Like it just adds more to the story.
You said, sorry, Ryan was talking to me. Comic-Con. Yeah, well, we were looking at, because Chamorro asked about any cons in Minnesota, and there's not many we could find. So.
Yeah, and I was asking to see if he could name some in Minnesota that might help you guys.
That'd be pretty easy, Ryan, for us to go to because of St. Paul. Yeah. Okay. Hey, we'll try to find one.
That's where Reuters is. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Then that was the other thing you were talking about, kind of paper quality. That's one thing that I've noticed with all of the books is the quality, especially the covers, is like top.
I'm not afraid of ripping the paper as I turn the page.
Yeah, there definitely have been some other publishers, without naming names, that I like. You get it, and the cover is already wavy looking.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of afraid you're gonna rip it.
That's
nothing I've ever picked up from y'all has been less than perfect.
Okay, fingers crossed because we're testing we're testing some things going forward. We got a new printer. There was a printer that we were dealing with that was missing deadlines, and it was partially with Chinese New Year was an issue. So we switched. So fingers crossed.
Well, I'll let you know. If it keeps up as you guys have been doing, that's been great.
Yeah, well, it should.
We got one more Lexington Comic and Toy Con in September in a big college town. And then Gen Con in Indiana.
Yeah, I've heard about Gen Con.
Which is Gary Gygax's brainchild, creator of D&D.
Hey-o.
In Wizard Con in Indianapolis. So
all the cons.
They're all like, hey, come see us.
Yeah,
which I know you guys can't be in 20 places at once and run a company and
we can. We've talked about like one of the things we wanted to do was take a tour. Like we got an RV, and so it was like get in the RV and like take a tour, go to these cons and like go to like 40 of them.
That would be so cool.
So we'll
be
see.
awesome. Sweet.
One day.
Oh, here we go. He said Galaxy Con or Nerding Out Con are in Minnesota.
Nice. Okay. Appreciate it. Galaxy Con. That sounds rad.
It does. Sounds like a pretty cool con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I know there's like a small one around me. It's just like the local Tidewater Comic-Con, Hampton Roads.
And
Cool.
I've only been in New Orleans for a little bit, but I know there are cons here, and I just don't know what they're called yet.
Well,
They haven't happened since I've been here. So
right, yeah. That's the thing. We haven't like every convention that we lined up that first year has been canceled, so it's like it's great.
Yeah.
yeah,
We're all
So-
new here.
it's March. So these are the books that are coming out this month, or maybe have already come out. I can't remember when the volume 1 of Necromorphous dropped.
I think that's the 17th. It says March 10th there. I think that's
Okay.
17th. We
I
got our
didn't see it
copies
at
in.
my store today.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either. I'm wondering. Diamond mentioned something about delaying that one until the 24th. Even Diamond's been struggling with release dates, but yeah, that one we got ours in hand today actually, and that one looks fantastic. Carnivore's on the 31st. That one's a really cool one, man. That one's from the artist of Assassin's Creed Origins. That guy, his art is just
Whoa.
nuts, and
That's dope.
I think I have one
Nice.
over here. But yeah, he's a great artist. And Vietnam Horror is a good series as well. You got all 3 of those are black and white. I just realized. Yeah, we're doing a lot of that.
That's the interesting thing.
I
is
loved it.
Yeah.
I used to be such like I need the colors, I want the colors, and then I read
Me too.
Necromorphous, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm the
wait,
same
I
way.
don't.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think, like, for me, it really depends. I think one of the first comics I think I read was like, yeah, so you had Walking Dead, and then the next thing I read was Sin City. So you got to like, those are 2 black and white comics, are probably the first
Yeah.
2 that I read. So maybe that's why we keep picking up so much black and white stuff. But the weird thing is it's selling. Our 2 best-selling books are black and white: Girl Walks Home Alone at Night and You Promised Me Darkness. So I guess it's
I
working.
feel like it kind of lets the reader, make the world in their own mind a little bit too.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But
Yeah. Absolutely. So then we got Second Paranormal Hitman, Hotline Miami, Wildlife number 7, and Steambound number 3.
Yeah, so Paranormal Hitman's continuing. That's 4 issues. And then they're going to work on a license. Both of them are actually coming back for a license project of ours based off of a pretty big video game. And then Hotline Miami's ending at issue number 8, which is sad. And then Steambound, that's the end of the first arc for that one. The first arc's 3 issues, and then the second arc's another 3. So good stuff, though.
Nice.
Are the writer and the author coming back together for Paranormal Hitman?
Yeah, for the license project, yeah, and then hopefully
Awesome.
more paranormal.
I like it.
Are you able to say what genre of video game that is?
Fantasy, yeah, it's
Okay.
well,
Ooh.
I was about to say, is it fantasy?
What?
Because there's no fantasy. It's medieval. That's a better way of putting it.
Okay.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
The Paranormal Hitman guys, what they're working on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not fantasy. Sorry, that was misleading.
Yeah, it's like
Better word.
medieval fantasy kind of that fits.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, well, the whole point of the thing is like there's not dragons and stuff. So
Fair.
that was like a big marketing thing because like stuff like Skyrim and those video games, they don't have dragons and so. What Johnny say? Yeah,
Do you read
totally.
any manga?
Yeah, that was the thing we just started dipping our toes in. We really wanted to with manga, and the weirdest thing about it is how hard that's to license. Most companies that you reach out over there, you got to reach out to in Japanese, and it's
Oh God.
as simple as that. Like whenever we started reaching out, it was like, and I started talking to someone, I was like, none of these companies are responding. Like I could reach out to Netflix and they'll respond in like 5 minutes, but I could reach out to some, Japanese publisher and they're like, never a response. And they're like, you got to send them a thing in Japanese and fluent in Japanese. And it was like, so yeah, that's something we want to do. It was a weird barrier that we didn't expect that we're having to work on. So hopefully soon though. But yeah, Berserk's awesome.
So is that you gotta get someone fluent in Japanese to join Behemoth and
Hire a translator.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
bridge that connection?
Yeah, well, I started paying a translator, and I started using his stuff to reach out to publishers. But then there's the thing when they respond, you're like, Oh crap! So then you got to go back to him, pay him, and then he responds, and then you got to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think that through.
And so then moving into April, we got Promise Me Darkness #1, Mayara and Annabelle Volume 1, and Diorama 7 Volume 1.
And Firehawk says he knows a guy. He's hired. Tell me who he is. Yeah, You Promised Me Darkness #1. Like I said, that thing sold 30,000 copies, which is nuts. The thing's going to be everywhere.
The A cover of that is great, and it reminds me very much of A Girl Walks Home.
Yeah, that was the point, and that was kind of the thing to see if we could kind of like as a test to like play off the success of that. Very similar name, A Girl Walks Home at Night, You Promised Me Darkness. Both are very long. Both are minimalistic covers. Both are like the black and white art style. The difference between You Promised Me Darkness is that there's no movie, and I think that's why it did so well, because there's the speculation about there being a movie. So I think that's what helped the sales exceed so well. And of course, we're hoping to have something soon. Our agent's working on it, and I think what he's working on sounds phenomenal. So we got our fingers crossed.
Nice.
But what else we got? We got
Mara and Annabelle. So much in works.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
The other two I don't know too much about.
Yeah, those were a bit of a test for us. Both of those are more of not necessarily all ages, but like at least a teen stuff, because most of our stuff is pretty adult. But Mara and Annabelle and Diorama are both more of the all ages fashion, so they're not something I think people expected from us. And those books will start getting more of a push towards like Simon and Schuster, as we have like an all ages imprint over there with them. So they were something we were just kind of testing out to see how well they would do with Diamond. And yeah, they're good graphic novels, though. I think people enjoy them.
Awesome. Then we got Vietnam Horror #2, Paranormal Hitman #3, and Hotline Miami Wildlife #8. So that you said that's the last issue of that one.
Yeah, sad stuff. They we got another series with those guys as well. We actually got 2 series with those guys. The next one's pretty cool. It's kind of like a Joker style thing, like the movie Joker, where it's more like drama oriented with a guy that wears a mask. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
And then we have a new. This one's a fantasy series with them. They actually just kickstarted. I think they kickstarted like an RPG game for it. And it was really weird. It was something we're not used to. So they're working on that, and then they're going to do a comic for it. So a little weird, but more stuff coming from those guys. Paranormal Hitman and Vietnam continuing.
Sweet. And Paranormal Hitman, is that planned for a certain number of issues?
Well, the first arc is 4. It's always like we do 4 and then we see how it does, and then we greenlight another 4.
Okay. Awesome.
Girl walks.
And then included this because we were talking about this earlier. You Promised Me Darkness has kind of the first book that you guys have done a lot of covers for.
Yeah, a lot of covers.
Cat cover.
Yeah, that yeah. Anna did a really good job with that cover. We have I think at least I don't think Damien's here anymore, but if he is, I think we have at least one more cover from Anna that she's doing. That's a really cool one. I think people will like as well.
Awesome. And is that one that's going to be a store exclusive cover, or is that part of the kind of the order?
No, it's kind of weird. None of the store exclusive covers are actually there. We have 7 more store exclusive covers. Yeah, 7 more. That we didn't list there. So there's 14 covers in total. That was a mess. It was such a mess to coordinate.
I did see, I think it was Hive Comics. I think because you guys reposted something with them.
Hive Comics
cover looks really good.
Yeah, there's Things from Another World, Dark Horse. They did one. Gotham Comics did one. Sanctum Sanctorum did one. Hive Comics. There was a lot, man. It was cool though. They're all. It's really cool to see how other artists interpret the series. So.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. When we were talking before, and you said, it's the next The Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, and I just read that one, and I was like, okay, sold.
Yeah, You Promised Me Darkness. It's kind of got like vibes of like Umbrella Academy and Sandman and like Deadly Class as well.
You just said the magic words.
Yeah, so Umbrella Academy was the first comic book that I ever picked up.
Okay, it's very much got those vibes.
Nice.
Like, exactly.
That is very exciting to hear.
Yeah. That cover's dope. Yeah.
I love that series.
And so kind of looking, because, I talk about orders and final order cutoff and all that. So these are things that you can order now with your shop. that haven't been cut off yet. So going into also the previews catalog, these books are all in there. And I think Freak Snow got a highlight in the previews catalog, right?
Yeah, I got a spotlight, which is pretty rad because that's a thing with Diamond that's actually kind of hard to get. It's basically like where our rep will nominate it for a spotlight, but then like all the reps at Diamond have to vote on the select few that they want to spotlight. So that was pretty cool for it.
Really cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the other books, try to, if you are interested in them, obviously try to get your orders with your shop. Maybe they have them already pre-ordered and you can get it from your shop. But these ones you can kind of guarantee your order with your shop if you let them know. This would be by the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, around the 20 something, 20 whatever.
Because I know February was the 25th.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, the 25th again. I think it actually is. I don't know.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And actually, this is someone who works at my shop.
Hey-o.
It's kind of cool. But yeah, so You Promised Me Darkness #2. We were talking about Freak Snow a little bit earlier. And then we've got Junkie Cable #1.
Yeah.
One, I haven't heard about this one yet.
Yeah, this is the first month that we're doing 2 #1s, which is something that we said we wouldn't do. But here we are. We're doing 2 #1s in a month now. So we'll see how it does. But yeah, Junkie Cable's pretty rad. It's from an Italian artist and writer. But yeah, it is a crazy like fantasy adventure type of thing, but pretty cool.
Oh, exciting.
Awesome. Honestly, I haven't heard any of the comics that you guys are coming out with that I'm like, it doesn't sound like something like all ages, sometimes those are
The Last Witch is great, and it's a young, geared towards audience book.
Yeah. So I've been reading some books recently from other publishers, and I'm like, all ages? No, this is got some stuff that's kind of more geared older age, that maybe younger age when they catch these things, but so I kind of like that all age piece too because of that.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be checking out those 2 that were not necessarily the typical, like you said, the typical type of book you guys put out.
Yeah.
And Comics Talk Weekly saying I've been pre-ordering You Promised Me and now Freak Snow.
Nice. Appreciate it. Good choices.
Definitely. And shout out to Sith Lordly. So the Spine Ticks, the hashtag there, that's the show I was telling you about that we do on Saturday nights, kind of late. But he coordinates all that.
Cool.
So then we got these 2 continuing Vietnam Horror Paranormal Hitman 4, and this one I've been watching. It looks really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's crazy, man. That Andy, that's his first comic he ever did, but he killed it with that thing. And I don't know, we're really excited for that one. I have one right here next to me, but yeah, the art's kind of got like this noir style to it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think people will really dig that one. Good cover too.
I'm assuming that's another horror genre.
Yeah. Yes.
Pretty easily guessed.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a young reader book.
Right. Totally.
No. Oh man. No, I saw it because he's at Midnight Author, I think, on on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing him post about it, and I'm like, all right, let's get this book out.
Yeah.
Stop teasing us.
And then You Promised Me Darkness 2 has some variant covers, which I really, really like. This red and the black. I think, again, reminds me of Girl Walks Home Alone.
Like the minimalistic style. Yeah. Damien did both of those, which is like just to show you his unique art style, like how he can switch up styles. He's a great artist. And then you get the Freak Snow covers.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's something special about the one on the bottom, right?
Yeah, it's a charity cover that Kevin's doing, so that's pretty rad. He's donating all the proceeds to that one, so and all of our proceeds.
It's Hero Initiative, right? That all the proceeds go to, so that helps out struggling artists, authors, things like that have been affected by the pandemic and other things.
Yep, you got it, spot on.
Nice.
I just learned about this
cool,
like a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
But no, it's really cool. And look at that, we got some love for that cover too. So
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah, and that cover B is really, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's from Drew Moss. He did Copperhead at Image. Pretty good series there.
Nice.
I appreciate it, Princess Unicorn. Yeah, it's crazy. There's like we continue on with I think at least 3 covers for 3. I don't know. I wish Damien was still here, but I think it might be 4. And then I think for the last one, he just sent the covers today, and I think we're doing 4 for 4 as well because I got to send those to Diamond tomorrow. And then the graphic novel has also got multiple covers, which is something that we've done a few times for like Purple Oblivion. We did that. And a few others where there's multiple covers, kind of like limited editions. Found Footage, we did that too. So
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Especially when, I mean, other than this comic, for the most part, you guys don't have a lot of variant covers, so it's kind of cool to throw in that, those other artists getting the chance to put in some artwork. And
that was because that was a thing like we were talking about earlier, that we weren't really too much for variant covers, but we're kind of like stepping on ourselves these past few months, and then like next month that we have MFKZ coming out, which I think has another 5 covers, and it's like whoops. So I don't know.
Now the variant is taking off.
yeah, I don't know. We'll probably slow it down before long though.
Yeah, so that's the end of what's so far announced coming up.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about Stargirl because I've been seeing it on your website, and y'all still haven't announced anything beyond Q4, and I just want to know when I can buy it.
Yeah, that I'm trying to think what's the right date, because it should be August. So I'm about to send off July solicitations. So it's not in this one. We have a really cool book in this one called 9 Stones that's going to be sent off, and then the next one, and that's going to be Stargirl, and that's a really cool series. It's kind of got an art book to it as well, so it's going to be like you get a comic mixed with a bunch of like art book in the back. Wow. So it's pretty cool. I think people will dig it.
I've been eyeballing it on the website. Every time I go on, I'm like, I want more info on it.
Yeah.
It's first time I was like, I'm looking on there and like, there it is. And I'm like, ooh, what's this? Let me try to buy this. Oh, wait.
Nope.
But you got my attention. And I think that was really cool. It's like right there to get you thinking about it already.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else, beyond what we have announced that you can tell us about with upcoming stories? Or
there's a lot of cool ones. We have the biggest ongoing one we have is a series called Quad, which is it's like a whole world building thing they did. They did 16 issues, but it's done by 4 different writers, which are also the artists. And those guys are like phenomenal artists. That it just blows me away every time they send something over, because they all work in like film and stuff. So phenomenal artists. That's a really cool series called Quad. Stargirl's coming. 9 Stones, which is a webcomic. I think it had like 3 million viewers on that comic. It's crazy. So there's that one. And then there's the licensed stuff I wish I could talk about, but we'll have a few more. The MFKZ I think is a really cool one that people will like, though. At least the
when you can, let us know.
Yes, I'll be back on. We're hoping to announce one pretty soon that's based off of a really big video game. So fingers crossed, and then I'll totally swing back and give you guys a scoop.
I said drop your questions in the chat, and I got some sound on that.
Well, all right then.
But yeah, if anybody else has questions, while you've got the chance to ask them, feel free to drop those in the chat. Caroline, did you have any other questions yourself?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything I had.
Yeah, it's been. We'll give them some time to drop some questions down there. But
there is one up from Johnny. Said, what do you have? What advice do you have for anybody who wants to make a living in comics?
Oh no, don't. No. I would say, as far as the publisher side of things, it's not really that hard actually. It's more of having a focused and like a heavy control over what you're putting out, because there's again, like Jeremy said, like not to specifically name names, but there's certain publishers that kind of cast a wide net of what they put out and don't have a lot of quality control. So I think that's one big thing is, if you're a publisher, it's to have quality control of what you're putting out, and so that you can remain consistent, so that people know they can take chances on your book and get something that's quality. So, but as far as a creator, oh boy, I don't know. That's tough. It's tough. People like Damien and stuff like that is fortunate. Like when we can sell 30,000 copies of his comic, yeah, you could certainly make a living. So maybe come up with like a really long name and do some.
Do you yourself have any interest in writing anything, or no?
I did early on, and that was the thing. And then people started sending us stuff, and I was like, well, this is better than what I was doing. So I was just and I was like, eventually, like
people be creative.
Right. The whole idea was to, hone my craft and get better. And then you start realizing you don't have time anymore. And then it's like, well, that was a nice dream, but it's not happening.
So is that something that you're hoping maybe one day to get to do again?
Right. One day. Yeah. I'll leave it open as one day. But, you still get to kind of do it with like stuff that's in production. People will run it by you and you get to edit it and stuff like that. So we get to edit a lot of things me and Ryan do. And then the license stuff that we're doing from scratch. You basically get to heavily oversee it, but you're ultimately like bound to the licensor. Like Netflix can always override whatever it is and say, hey, we don't like that. Then you have to go back to the drawing board and stuff. So yeah, but hopefully one day I'll get to do more than just editing and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. For those in the chat, I dropped the link to I can't talk right now. Behemoth Comics website. So there are a lot of the books still available on the website to go purchase and catch up on your reading with them. Paranormal Hitman's on there. I think you can pre-order the Necromorphos Volume 1, if I was remembering correctly.
It's up there.
The next issue of Steambound, Paranormal Hitman 2, all the Hotline Miami stuff's on there. So go check it out. There's a lot of different stuff on there, so find what you like.
Yeah. Comics Talk Weekly had a question. He said, having seen behind the curtain, what are a happy surprise and a sad disappointment you learned about the industry? A happy surprise is that not knowing much about comics and not really having grown up with them, that people are somehow interested in what I'm interested in, which is really cool. And that there's a lot of incredible books that go beyond just Marvel, DC, Image, even getting down pretty deep into the indie thing. When you go to like Aftershock and Black Mass, it's like you can go beyond them and there's still really good stuff to put out. So a sad disappointment. There's a lot. There's a lot. No, not too many. I mean, it's more of just there's things that you think you know how it works and then it doesn't work like anticipated and you got to learn the hard way. Lots of that stuff. And I don't know, but the industry's growing, and surprisingly, COVID, like Caroline was talking about earlier, surprisingly, COVID was not like a detriment. Most stores actually either had a break even from year on end, or they actually had an increase in sales, which is wild to me. Nice. But so things are really positive. So even when there's some disappointments, there's still a lot of positive things to see.
That's awesome. That I didn't know that the shops are actually doing better.
Yeah, it was weird. We when we were at Comics Pro, we got to talk with a bunch of retailers, and they all kept saying the same thing. Yeah, we were up 5%, we were up 20%, or the worst we heard was we were down 5%. And I was like, that's phenomenal for being shut down for months. It's weird, very weird. Cool.
Absolutely. And Comics Talk also dropped a question that he drops in everybody's chat.
I do appreciate that. That's fine. Right. No comment.
Yeah. And I think someone said, ask your local CPA. Made more money this year than any of the last 3.
Yeah, none of my local shops have closed down.
I think that's kind of new people. Right. Yeah, I think that's kind of a brilliant thing about COVID. Even though there's a lot of negative things, it kind of forces you to panic and think outside the box. So I think there's a lot of people that get to shine whenever that happens. It makes you think differently. How can I sell things when I'm not open? And same thing with us is like, how can we survive when we're not able to sell books and go to cons and stuff? So that forced us to reach out to Simon & Schuster. And, we thought we'd get rejected, but no, they accepted us in multi-year global deal. So, hey, it worked.
Yeah. There's a shop that actually is also part of the community in Alaska. Aegis Comics of Alaska. They're the only shop I've seen do this, really. They're out there on YouTube. They're putting out videos and that kind of thing and interacting with the people that buy the comics. And So I think that was a cool, like, innovative way to bring in business, right?
Right, totally.
So I think it's definitely made some people get out there and think outside the box. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in from the chat. So thank you, Nathan, so much for being here with us tonight. And
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you for chatting with me and having all our books. That was cool. And for having the shirt. Appreciate it. So,
yeah. And if you guys want a, hold on, I guess I got to stand up to get the all hail in, right?
Yeah, that's the important part.
The all hail cat with eye patch shirt. That's on the website. I think Comics Talk Weekly said he bought the soup shirt.
Yo.
Yep, great shirt.
Thank you.
So go to the website. I'll drop the link again for everybody. I think it's in the description too, if I actually remember to set that up properly.
Yeah.
And so go check out the books that are on there. Check out the merchandise, shirts, and all that.
Yeah, you've got it on there.
A loud car driving by me.
I was going to say something like an airplane. I was worried there.
Great seg. Yeah. It's
Cool.
It's really cool to see the insight from the side of the publisher.
Appreciate it. I was wearing pants.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for hanging out with us in the chat, asking questions. Those were great questions you guys were bringing in. And have a great night, everybody.
Yeah.